Welcome to Still Creative. My name is Eric Averett, and I work at Fusion Alliance, where one of our company values is creativity. Through Still Creative, we discuss creativity and innovation and often find connections to the underlying condition of stillness. My guest is Jenora Adams. Jenora is a software quality analyst and lead competency manager, also with Fusion Alliance. She's been with Fusion for over 8 years now. Jenora is my first colleague guest and also first remote guest here on the podcast. And when we discussed creativity, Jenora shared her perspective on dancing as an outlet for her own creativity. And also, we hear about how it's fun and how it's a way to move away from thinking, and in that way is a stress reliever. And that had nice connections, as you'll hear, to her work and how she brings creativity and innovation to our clients to help them achieve their goals. I want to thank Jenora for joining me, and as always, thank Fusion Alliance for their support of Still Creative. Jenora, good morning, and thank you for joining me, and also thank you for being my first Still Creative guest, who is also one of my colleagues at Fusion Alliance.
Thank you, and good morning to you, Eric. Nice to be joining you today.
Appreciate it. And so, in terms of your role, can you start out by talking about the work that you do at Fusion?
I'm a software quality analyst, and what I do is I basically make sure all of our software or applications for our clients that we work on is functioning, as expected, making sure everything's run smoothly as it's designed. Make the client happy, basically.
Excellent. Well, I know you do that, and I also know that you recently earned a promotion. Can you add a little more and tell us about that?
I did. I got promoted to a competency manager. So basically, I'll be a lead over some direct reports and kind of be guiding them and just leading some people under me.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on that, and I know that it'll be great for them to be working under your leadership. And I know firsthand about the great work that you do for our clients. And one of the things I didn't know until we started talking about you joining me here on Still Creative was I looked at your LinkedIn profile in terms of the recommendations that you have, and I want to get this right. You have 26, if my count was correct, recommendations on LinkedIn, and those were only the ones that were where you had multiple recommendations in terms of the work that you do specifically. So I'll give some examples of that. Like categories of software quality assurance and requirements gathering and analysis, regression testing, agile methodologies, test automation. And again, there were 26 of those, so the list goes on. So that's the kind of work that you do, and clearly you do it well because people are recognizing it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And when we think about, again, you being a colleague at Fusion, and our topic here as a guest on Still Creative includes creativity. Well, one of our company values at Fusion, as you know, is creativity. So can you share from your perspective about why creativity is important in the work that you do and the work that we all do collectively?
I think first thing that stands out to me is because we're in the field of technology. So that's something that's always changing and evolving. So we have to have different ways to stay in the market, be competitive, to draw that attention towards our company so that we can deliver success to the clients. And not only that, we have to be innovative in the way that we're thinking so that we can just provide, what the clients are looking for and what they need. And then, today it's a very competitive market. So if we're not, doing the best that we can, or if we're not being innovative and being there for the client, then we might be irrelevant. So I think it's important just to, stay abreast on technology, learning different ways that we can master our, what we do is very important.
Absolutely. That's a great point in terms of how we help our clients stay ahead of their competition and ultimately serve their customers. As I thought about creativity as a company value as it relates to Still Creative, one of the things I go back to, and the reason for the name Still Creative is the word stillness, and I also think about awareness and mindfulness. And so, in terms of being creative, the specifics behind that particular company value include we are resourceful, courageous, ingenious, embracing of change. And so I look at myself in terms of my stillness journey and how it allows me to be more creative. And I think I'm able to just be calmer when situations that require creativity or ingenuity come up. By being calmer and more aware, I'm able to see options that I might not have seen before when I was coming more from a place of anxiety, if you will. And so that's a little bit about my connection to creativity and how mindfulness and awareness and stillness have helped me personally add more value as an employee in that particular category. Is there anything specific to your QA work where you see creativity being important or being able to be seen by clients specific to the work that you do?
I definitely see it just being creative. Like you said, sometimes you need to really focus in as a QA. You need to focus in because we ultimately want to make sure that the product that we're delivering is working as expected without any flaws or defects. So with that, the creativity part comes in because I have to think about different scenarios. Basically, how can I break this to, and if it doesn't break, that means it's working. So I have to think of different scenarios, some that may not have been thought of before, just because we have different clients, different people. So I have to think outside of the box, So that's where the creativity comes in, because some people, hey, I didn't think of that. Well, yeah, that's my job. My job is to think of that, to make sure everything is working. So that's where creativity comes in. And I agree with you. Sometimes you need to block out everything so that creativity comes out and flows through your work.
Yes, absolutely. That's interesting. So think about how to break things, and as I described, seeing options. That's similar, I guess, in your role. I mean, needing to be able to think in terms of how to break things and ultimately make sure it doesn't happen. When the product is complete, and so yeah, and it also makes me think about where the importance of your experience and as you've transitioned now into a leadership role, how that experience is so important and valuable as a leader. So I'll shift gears here a little bit. When you and I first met and talked about you being a guest here today, and I brought up creativity, one of the first thoughts that you had was actually related to dance and to dancing. And so can you share a little bit more about why that was top of mind for you?
Well, yeah, one of the things I love is music. Music, it actually helps me zone in, and it does a little bit of both. It helps me zone in and focus, but also it helps me clear my mind so that I can think better. So one of the things that I do is I in line dance and line dancing. I dance with a group called COLD. It stands for Columbus, Ohio Line Dancers. So through that, like dancing is a way to relieve stress, but also yet have fun and keep an open and positive attitude in mind. So that's one thing that I do.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I love that. I think you described the element of when you're dancing and dancing as a part of, again, Columbus, Ohio Line Dancers and that group. Which, thank you for sharing some videos with me. I was able to learn more about the group, which was fun. You shared with me sort of moving away from thinking, and as you said, not being stressed, and again, not thinking, if you will, as a way to kind of help you relax. In my words, can you share a little bit more from that context of why the group is so important to you?
I think because when we're together and we're out dancing, we're all having fun, we're all coordinated, doing coordinated steps. So once we get the steps down, we're just doing it and having fun and basically doing movement. So the music is moving you yourself, and so you're not thinking, you're just out having fun, just dancing like no one's watching, just having fun. And so when I think about that, I think, sometimes, when you're at work, you might take a break. To me, line dancing is like taking a break. So clearing your mind. And then when you come back, you're able to focus more, and be more productive.
Excellent. Excellent. You mentioned dancing like no one's watching. I think that's I love that way of thinking. And I personally, when it comes to dancing, I've never actually done done that. Whenever I've been dancing, I always feel like someone's watching. But who knows? Maybe in the future I can move in that direction. And I love it also as a metaphor for life and other things. And anything that you can get to a place that you're doing it where you're not thinking or you're not worrying that someone's watching, whether it's dancing or sports or any activity really that we could be a part of. And so that for me also I would say connects to this moving to a place of more stillness. It's an ongoing journey, but and meditation as a practice for me is a place where I can move to having less time thinking and more time being and ultimately doing. And so I love that dance can provide that for people. I think that's probably why the show Dancing with the Stars was a show that I enjoyed for many seasons, and it's a was always a fun and entertaining show. But I think part of what drew me to it was that idea of seeing people progress to the point of being out there and just letting it go and as you said, dancing like no one's watching. It looks like such a fun thing to do.
Exactly.
We talked about that process though, and if we start to break that down just a little bit, that line dancing element does include thinking at the beginning, right? Learning the moves, learning the steps. So there is this progression from thinking to not thinking. And can you share a little bit more about that?
So initially, whenever we learn to dance, we break it down step by step. And, we might do it without the music, and then we will do it with the music. And then, once we run through it a couple of times, then like you said, it just comes to you and it just flows. So eventually when you're doing the dances, you just know what's coming up next, and you're not thinking about the movement, you're just actually moving. So it just comes so easily and naturally.
Yeah.
When you're not thinking and you're just moving, it's something that's freeing about that, and your mind is clear.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's a fun thing to do. I can see and to be a part of a group and a community and the friendships that come from it. I'm sure that's a big part of it as well.
Yes, it is.
Very good, very good. And then as it relates to whether it's dancing or meditation or anything that we can do to move to that better place to where when we are back to work, we're more focused and more in the present and able to perform our jobs at our best.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. Like I said, it's like taking a break from work. So, sometimes I don't even have to, meet and go somewhere. It's some music you can turn on at home. So you want to take a break, just turn some music on, do a little dance, and then get back to work.
I love it. That's great. Now, you also shared with me, and this was really a beautiful connection. And I'm thinking in terms of the group Cold, Columbus, Ohio Line Dancers that you're a part of. You also shared with me a different group that you have met up with and had a really beautiful connection to your childhood as well. Can you tell me more about that?
There's a group, and it's a group of women 40 plus. women that are for ages 40 up, and it's a double Dutch club. So, what we do is we get together and we don't just do double Dutch, but we do double Dutch, we do hopscotch, play games. We also actually do line dancing there too. But it's just a way to get together and fellowship and network and come together and have fun. So it's another way to release energy and while gaining friends and also just being happy. So that's another thing. It's a real good stress reliever, but it kind of connects back because when we first started, we were like, hey, we haven't jumped since, a long time ago. And it's one thing that just comes back naturally. So if you haven't done it in 20, 30 years, it just comes back naturally too. So that's something else that I do in my spare time.
I love it. I love it. I admire that about you, that you have, you know, been a part of these groups, and I'm sure that people, that are spending time with you are enjoying it as much as you are. And so it's one of the things I've learned from our discussions, that I think about, like, how can I apply this personally, and be a part of more groups than I am today. I love the childhood connection too. I'm sure it's a ton of fun and great to get together. But I'm thinking there's probably there's a depth to it, because it's something that you all share, but it's also something that goes back to when you were a kid. And so it just sounds like a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Well, Jenora, thank you for joining me. I appreciate the conversation. Again, I've learned things from getting to know you, and I see a nice connection here between dancing and the groups that you're a part of, and how helpful that is for you, and also how that translates in your ability to be in your role at Fusion, and to be creative, and to be a leader, and to add value, and see things from a perspective that other people don't have. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. Thanks for having me. Yeah, so basically, in closing, I just wanted to say that um, being creative is not only about just thinking all the time, but sometimes it's about allowing that stillness so that creativity can come through. And just like I mentioned before, you can do that in different ways, through music, through dance, just being still, meditation. But ultimately, I think it's important, to let that come through.
Excellent. Excellent. Well said. Well, thank you again, Janora.